Hello again. Welcome back to another episode of the Tully Legends Podcast. I'm really excited today to have Stephen Linzmeier, the owner of Wisconsin Sports Performance, joining us. Linz has been kind of a standout in the area with his gym that he's built over the last few years. We got connected, a year or two ago as well, and kind of got to just learn about their system and the impact they're making in the community. And we were just talking about all the different teams and athletes that they're seeing. And so really excited to have you on, Linz, and kind of dive in and share with everyone else.
Well, I appreciate it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So for people who don't know you, kind of give us a little bit of background. Obviously, your personal history, but then talk about, Wisconsin Sports Performance. Like, how did it start? What was the idea? What was the need you felt that you saw? And take us back to the starting blocks.
Gotcha. Well, start off, I was lifting in 8th grade from a small little town in Wisconsin. Football was my main sport, so it's how do you get better? Obviously be in the weight room then. So I was one of the first ones in my grade to start getting after it. As I progressed through high school, it's like, all right, I want to play college. One of my good friends, he was at he's linebacker at a college, and it's like, all right, what's he doing? So we ended up driving 45 minutes one way just to train. At that point, it's frat year acceleration. And that summer, it was going into my sophomore year. My cousin was working there. I'm like, wait, you can actually get paid to do this? So it was just fun to kind of, chat with her and figure out, hey, what are the steps? So was fortunate enough, football got me to Wisconsin lacrosse. Didn't make the team, but was able to make a lot of connections, and they had a great exercise science program. I'm still looking at it. I think 9 of us went D1 from the class I graduated with, and a bunch of them are still in there. So I'm very fortunate for going to lacrosse. After that was at Butler University, went to the final. March Madness is coming up. Not the Gordon Hayward, the big shot everybody's got, but the next year they went to the Final Four. So got to see success early, and also got to really truly see what being a college strength coach was. Because even though lacrosse we had a bunch of them, we didn't really know the true feel of it. Went to Wisconsin, or then went from north side to south side, went to University of Indianapolis. So D2, it's a top 10 school. All the teams are finishing, they're making the national tournament and usually finishing pretty high. After a couple of years there, Lincoln Memorial took a chance on me at 26. I actually just saw Josh Schertz, who's at SLU. Watch out, March Madness, SLU. But they hired me then and was able to, turn the culture around and start that strength program out from scratch. Was there 4.5 years. Got my master's degree and was like, you know what? Hey, kind of getting burnt out. Went to sales. I was working with Legend Fitness for a little bit. Then I'm like, you know what? I miss coaching. Ended up, and also was away from home for a decade. I'm like, it's time to come home. So ended up at Brookfield East High School in 2019. Was there for a year and a half, 2 years. Saw a couple state championships with football, swim teams. And then when I was there, I'm like, all right, you have 2 options. Either you're going to be a teacher and do this through the school, or you're going to start your own hub. And I'm like, I'm done with school. I've done enough of that, and you'd have to go back. So I'm like, all right, well, start reading and figuring out everything. Plus, I have an MBA. Let's figure out how to set it up. Right after I left Brookfield East, I went to a different gym, sports performance gym, to try learning behind the scenes before you did it with your own money. And then 4.5 years later, still here kicking and servicing the community. And we do athletic performances are big reach. We do 8 to 18-year-olds. Also, obviously work with college athletes as well, and then some team training.
No, that's really, yeah. Lacrosse is one of those programs in schools that comes up all the time. It's all over strength conditioning. I always see that as somewhere in people's profiles, portfolio.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, it's kind of a little factory down over there. Cool. Well, tell us a little bit about that. So you were obviously collegiate strength coach, is its own animal, its own beast. I've done it myself, but I've lived it. And as an athlete, I think you know what that world looks like. You talk about getting burned out, before you're 30, essentially. I know the kind of grind and struggle there. You went into sales, and then combining. So you're obviously combining kind of that business mindset to what you're doing now, but still on the floor coaching, which is what you're passionate about. Talk about that. We hear about private sports performance gyms. I feel like they're popping up all over. They're getting bigger. People are seeking, so it's this growing business. What was kind of the scariest thing about making that leap? What's been the hardest thing? And then, then we'll kind of get into what's been successful.
It was, obviously the scariest because you're going off on your own, and the coaching side is the biggest thing, that it's like, all right, well, I'm really good at coaching. Business is a complete different ordeal with it though. So even how do you get your first client? So for us, I mean, for me personally, I was at least lucky that I worked with a lot, being at Brookfield East, which is 10, 15 minutes from here. I was just like free, come on in. Just got lucky that one of the track coaches that was with me at Brookfield East was at Menominee Falls, which is 3 minutes down the road. And he started sending his girls in. So we were able to get lucky right away. But yeah, you have to learn how to get people in the doors, especially when you're beginning, for free. It's just get them in, put content out, and try to figure out from there. And that's for me, it's been working with different mastermind groups as well, to go for. I mean, right now talking to other friends of mine that are in that field, it's like, all right, yeah, what is my next step? If I don't want to do college coaching anymore, what is it? And I mean, the field is rough. I tell it. I mean, I have a love-hate with the field, but with it, it's for me the most potential lucrative, if you put the time in and effort in, but understanding that it's not going to happen overnight. Like it's the struggles of, looking at 2 years in, it's like, is this going to make it? And at that point, I applied for a local college job just because it was like, you know what, let's see, and maybe it can make both work. It didn't happen. And it's like, well, there's kind of the kick in the dick of like, all right, lock into your own business. So it's got the ups and downs of it, but it's the fun part, and just understanding, like, as you're going into it, especially if you're on your own. I had no other financing. I did it all myself. So at the last job, I was, it was kind of a part-time. It was about 20 or 30 hours a week. So I was Uber driving on the side. And even that first year or two, just to try making extra money.
I mean, yeah, it's a weird thrill, I guess, of the risk and danger of it. I mean, obviously with Tully, feeling that, have felt that. Strength conditioning is kind of this weird thing, and I'm speaking again as an athlete, so forgive me, but it's this weird thing that it feels like it's everywhere. So if you're a parent or an athlete or a coach even, you're like, well, why am I going to go down the street, to WSP and like pay money if like we have a weight room at the school? Or I could look up a program online, and I feel like it's kind of all around you, and there's sort of like these weird environments where you can sort of do it or say you're doing it, but there's obviously, we know, and there's such a gap between those two, and honestly, maybe you're wasting your time, your injury risk, but like, what's the challenge there? Like, how have you kind of attacked that problem? And maybe, this comes from our side, is always about communicating. How do you get that point across to parents and coaches of like, no, like this, there's value here. This is what you should be doing, and we can deliver that.
Yeah. For us, obviously using Tully has been huge. It's part of our, assessment when they come in and be like, hey, here's a screen with your testing, weekly testing. And then being able to do reports off that. I know in our area, that's something that has, it's a unique selling point. As other gyms, they'll do, hey, here's 3 months out, here's different stuff, where we're testing we do vertical 20, flying 10 is part of our 20, and then pro agility pretty much consistently, but then you can throw in, even when it comes to benching, because for us, it takes time. Like we work with, we use Team Builder as one of our main apps. With all the programming on there, I don't have them on their phone typing it all down. It's just quick look up at the screen and go. And it's just, pops it off that way. It makes it a lot easier for us that way, as a unique selling point. Parents have been coming in and be like, man, I've tried with my kid. They don't want to listen to me anymore. So sweet, come in here, we'll help you out. And then at that point, trying to educate them the difference between, we have VBTs in here. So it's, hey, here's track and bar speed. They're like, what does that do? Well, when you take mass times acceleration equals force, so instead of just continuing to have these, 8th grade, you have that 8th grade cocky confidence, or that dumb freshman in the weight room, I'm just going to max bench every week. Well, you're not going to help yourself out. So it's a way to educate them and be like, here you go. Moving, 75 pounds at 1 meter a second is going to be 75 newtons compared to 100 pounds at 50, moving at 0.5. Now you're only producing 50. So it's helping educate them on that and be like, here's the difference between training and just lifting. Right now, a lot of guys are lifting, especially the bodybuilding movement. I was in college when CrossFit came through. Everyone do CrossFit, and it's crazy how it makes it. And even our college athletes come back right now, and it's upper lower splits and push-pull days. I'm like, that's a bodybuilding workout. You're going to look like Tarzan, play like Jane. Like, you don't need that. So it's trying to educate them on, hey, here's what you should be doing. And all sports are power right now. So how can we get that, how can get you become the most powerful athlete?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that athletic training idea, I think, is finally taking hold where, again, it's not, I mean, there's sports specific aspects, right? I mean, you want to arm health for a baseball player, or you want to jump as a volleyball player. There's some things I know I've talked to enough performance coaches, like you guys can pepper that stuff in, but it's really is, teaching athletes about how their body moves, how to control it, how to develop. I mean, that awareness, kind of that athlete, physical awareness in a sense. I think we've talked a lot about on this podcast with different folks. And one for us has been, what we've seen is kind of a bystanders, like that kind of comprehensive view that you can get with kind of a third party. So instead of going from your season to season, coach to coach, even if your high school has a nice weight room and your coaches are doing a good job, it's like your baseball coach isn't in charge of your football coach's workout. Like, you don't know what that is. So I feel like for you guys, being able to kind of connect those dots and maybe see an athlete, maybe it is 5 or 6 months across, but it's across the year, and you have that really holistic view of them. You're really able to kind of pick up pieces that maybe they're missing or kind of build upon. I know, we got introduced around the same time. I met Graham Wilkerson down at Jenison Sports in Indianapolis, who we worked with, and, hearing his philosophy of, it sounds like for them, it was kind of like plugging in those empty spots. I mean, that was like speed and agility. Those were the missed, opportunities, I think, in the school side. Talk to me a little bit about how I know you've worked with Graham. Like, how have you guys applied that to what you guys are doing? Where does data fit into that, and kind of the feedback?
Oh yeah, that's legit. And we do have some athletes that are like, oh, I'm lifting at school. It's like, well, we can fill the cracks. So we have our in season. Again, swimming has been one of my main ones. So I'll train, female or males at one of the clubs for the 3 months they have them in season. They see really good results. Well, then they go to the club. The club runs a different program, and it's like, okay, well, tell me what they're doing. So I look at what they're doing, and it's like, well, you're missing max strength and you're missing power. So those are the things that we're going to work on when we're here, because you're getting everything else there. That program is more of a, let's not get injured program. And it is what it is, but we're just filling the cracks. Here in Wisconsin, it's nuts watching, after living in Tennessee, living in Indiana, the grandfather of high school strength conditioning, and to see all those schools have top end strength coaches. So yeah, that's where, with Graham, it is the speed agility stuff that's really popping off. And then he fills the gaps with, ISO training, stuff like that. Where here in Wisconsin, this is the way we do it because this is the way we used to do it. So there's not as many true high school strength coaches or high school strength programs. I mean, in our area, we do have a few that are really good. And it's, how do we build off that then? It's the same thing as like figuring out the really good ones, or, other places. So it's filling the gaps, and trying to educate them. So when they're in here, again, that's where doing the weekly testing is like, okay, hey, here it is. On top of it helps educate them too when they have tournaments. Like, okay, hey, if you're going to stay up late one night and you're not feeling great the next day, well, there's why. And now you can show it, and also showing that it's not just this linear, hey, we're going to come straight up this way. It's like, no, there's going to be times where you're down here fighting. Finally, everything, lined. And sometimes it's because they had a day off of school or something.
Makes sense. I mean, the kind of knowing your market or knowing the culture where you're at is so important. I mean, across but I think that's why there really hasn't been, I mean, maybe bigger, faster, stronger back in the day because it was the first, but it's like, there's really not like a national, private brand or gym where it's just like, hey, this is going to work, because like you just hit on, I mean, you guys aren't that far from Indianapolis, right? I mean, it's a drive, but like, you guys, it's totally different cultures of what they're going to be getting at school, what the focus is, what the clubs in the area are probably focused on. So, being able to kind of tailor around it is so valuable. You kind of explained how we get people in the door, how do you kind of like market, the value, but talk about like the actual culture and what the experience is like for the athletes. We've kind of tried to go in and really dissect and define on this series, like, what is it that really is like the driver for that buy? Everyone talks about buy-in and engagement, and for you guys on the business side, that means retention, right?
Yes.
If I like you, and again, as an athlete, I played in college, I played in the NFL. Like, I couldn't tell you technically, by the book. I don't know what my coaches did, but I know which coaches I loved going to, the ones I wanted to be back with every off season. I don't know why, I don't have a CSCS. I can't tell you exactly what I was doing. Maybe there was a better system for me, but like talk about kind of those intangibles maybe. And then how have you guys built that into the experience, at WSP?
Yeah, great question. Oh, and sometimes I've always wondered that it's the culture and how do you build culture? I had it at Lincoln Memorial again when they didn't have a strength program before, and that first year when you go from a D2 team that's top 10 in the nation to your teams weren't even making the conference tournament, which is the top 8 out of 12 teams. And the one weekend, I still remember that, the teams went 0 for 8, and then I heard they went out and partied that night. And I'm like, no, we're not drinking teams that play our sport. Like, that's bull crap. So they came in, we punished them, which here's a plate. Here's a plate circuit. It wasn't even that, like, it's brutal, but it was kind of setting the tone of, like, you're not here to mess around. You're here to work hard and play. Like, work hard, winning's more fun. So here, one, to get that buy-in, I forget who said it, but the kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I've always, pride myself with that. We're going to joke around. There's no doubt about that. Like, there's going to be jabs back and forth, but truly understand that I care for you as a person and want to see you become the best person that you can be. And that's, asking good questions, and that's, truly getting to know them outside and showing that you care, showing up the games. That's a big thing that I know I do is, somebody mentioned there's like, man, you're almost omnipresent. Like, on your stories, you're at so many different games. So going to games is a big one for us. And then getting results. That's another thing too, is you have to get results. If you're not getting results, they can keep showing up, have a good time. But if they're not seeing body changes, they're not seeing how it's affecting them on the court or self-confidence wise. For us, that's a big thing with parents is, hey, is my kid getting more confident? Because we do work with not just, good and great athletes. We have a few, but you're going to get your normal rec kids coming in. So for them, it's, can I teach you how to lift properly? And then you understand what's going on top of how can I help your self-confidence? So those are some different things for culture-wise that we do harp on as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, you're marrying the two sides. It's like, as an athlete, sure, I'd love to go, Linza's got a PlayStation in the back, and I go sit on the couch and we play video games for an hour and a half, and like that would be fun. But obviously after a month, the parents are like, I'm not paying for this. And then there's like the, Drago trading where it's just misery, and you're optimizing every kid, but they've got to marry those two, like these youth athletes, like, and that's what I loved going to my training because I love hanging out. Like, there's no better time than 45 minutes of like that back and forth. It's amazing how quick you get to know each other. You get to like talk about your life, your family, and then I always said it's nice to have that it's kind of like a therapist, like this kind of third party. You're neutral, like you're not the coach. You're not worried about playing time. Is this stressful? I loved kind of like going into these facilities, and I started in high school, like go down the street and just kind of talk about, any frustrations, and you can kind of be a sounding board. It really is. It's like this mental, emotional, physical development training.
Yeah.
But that, again, to your point, kind of takes time and effort. And then, for us with Tully, it's like, okay, then the data, those results, like we want to pair that, but it all needs to kind of flow together, right? It doesn't make sense, to go crazy and analyze everybody down to like a T. So that makes sense. Do you guys do like any types of, for actual like marketing, like the retention side, are you guys doing like kind of the guarantees about that initial improvement? Because I think it's probably initial, maybe that proof of concept is important. Like you got to show results early, and then, you build that relationship over time, and that's what sustains it. Do you guys do anything with that kind of, instant feedback or kind of immediate kind of proof of concept?
3 months, 30. So was it 3 months, 30 sessions? So right over 2.5 sessions a week. We get you 3 inches on your vertical and 1 mile an hour on your sprint.
Okay. Awesome. And I'm sure, just people seeing that, I feel like there's sort of because it's strength conditioning can be a little bit of a black box. Like you don't really know what, sometimes it means there's like a low bar, like, maybe there's a low expectations, right? Like, I don't even know if parents maybe don't even know what to ask you of like, what should get better. So when you can define something simple like that for them to see, tell me, like, I'm sure that really resonates with parents. Like, oh, wow. Like, A, you did what you said you were going to do. And B, look, we're getting faster, stronger. Is that kind of the case? What you see?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And obviously the increase of confidence. And then, with the younger ones, it's, hey, they're playing a lot better real fast. And I mean, heck, we even had a high school girl after her first month of training with us went out because it was soccer season. So they finished their club season, and then it was 4 weeks before they went to their nationals. And in that 4 weeks time, she's like, yeah, my teammates were like, what the heck did you do? How'd you get so much faster? And, at that point, she's a junior. So college teams were even just like, what just happened? So it's fun when you get that immediate response. And you see that. Obviously, sometimes it's like, oh, well, you came off the season, you're really bouncy. Now we got to try building that back. So there's the two ends of it where, yes, you get the easy ones where it's just like, ooh, this worked really well. And the other ones where it's like, oh, shit, now what do we got to do? Try getting a little faster.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get you back up to speed. I got you. That's awesome. So, okay, what's kind of next for you guys? Like, what's the next hurdle from a business? You guys have built in this kind of a sustainable system where you've got athletes coming in, you build these relationships, you know the market really well. I mean, what's next? What's the next generally in the space, and then obviously for you guys at WSP?
Next thing for us is just continue to build out. Every year we've been slowly adding members, but it's going to be now trying to fill up every class as much as we can. I mean, it's nuts to see there's a lot of times where it's like 2 to 4 members, where now those 2 to 4 are, 6 to 8 members. So it's continue to fill up all of our classes. And then, I think we're here for 2 years, and then it'll be looking at the next facility. So trying to get a bigger facility on top of, I know, again, we were talking about the strength conditioning field, bringing on a full-timer. Getting all the systems in place, because that's the business side. It's harder as understanding, all right, for even myself, it's like, what am I supposed to be doing today? Like, there are so many times looking back, I'm like, I'm just playing on my phone thinking I'm doing something, but I'm not. You can do social media to a point, but it's like, what are you doing to actually grow the business? So that's, for me, is continue to challenge myself on the business side of like, all right, what are you doing day to day to get the leads in? What are you doing following up? That's a huge part, is, showcasing the results to the athletes, to the parents. Hey, your kid just went 4 for 4 today. And we're taking those pictures with it. So, I mean, right now, Dre down in Florida, he's been doing a great job of, hey, it's fun. He just takes the Tully thing and just takes a picture and he goes PR, 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 PR. And they're not blacks. They're not cheating. They're actually green. And
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's obvious. It's hard to deny. That's awesome. What are other systems? I mean, you kind of hit on Tully, but what other systems you guys are using to, I mean, just even the business side, like what are you guys leaning into?
I mean, training wise, we use the OVR for our bar speed training, and we also have their jump. We use Just Jump for testing, and then Free Lap. So those are main go-tos there. Then when it comes to follow-up and stuff like that, Go High Level's we can put in all our automations and spit that stuff out. Obviously, Tully we use for our tracking there. Team Builder we use for our programming. What else we got? I mean, sometimes use MailChimp, but breaking it down, it's like, all right, Go High Level. If you really figure it out, you can connect it all. And it's been tricky, especially this last week. I was just spending on how to get, when they sign up a membership. Push Press is our other one that we use. So when they sign up for a membership in Push Press, how can I get it to automatically spit them into this automation, but make sure I'm not duplicating? Like, there's so many different things, but
yeah,
it's behind the scenes, and thank the Lord for AI, because punch it in there and hopefully it gives you the right answer.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I know having that thing. I mean, that's what leads to kind of scalability. And we're, any business you're doing this, it's sort of like, if everything can work together, it frees you up. So you're doing the time coaching, you're finding new leads. Although if you're just managing what you have, it takes a lot of time. That's awesome. I mean, kind of in the last minute or two here, like what do you kind of want to pump up? What books are you reading? Are there clinics like like Mastermind? Like if there's other gym owners or even like high school coaches out there trying to learn more, like what would you recommend?
When it comes to, books wise, our program is built off of a version of Triphasic. So we've read, I read the original one and part of the high school one. So Triphasic, Wendler's 531 is another big one. BAMPA, periodization. So those are 3 big ones. Easy Strength was actually another really good read. That's low key. Not many people read too much, was that Pavel and somebody else. Otherwise, right now, do the Parisi School. They just have a little discount. So 1 CEUs, I need to get that. My biggest though was going in visits. That was my biggest when it came to learning knowledge. Was in the college strength field, giving a phone call. Hey, I got spring break coming up. My brother lived in Missouri, so I went to Lindenwood and stopped in at, SLU. I had a friend down in Florida, so who's in the area? And I just reach out to them and be like, hey, can I stop in? And it's crazy where they're more than likely to welcome you in. Now, like, what I like to do a little bit more with the small business side, it's a little bit tougher, just because yeah, it seems potentially a little more gatekeeping, but overall the strength performance side of it, everything's out there. There's nothing new. So here it is. I just run it better because of, here's my science and experience with it. And here's my programming. You can try stealing it all you want, but if you don't run it like me, it doesn't matter. And understanding all the little stuff behind it. Other little stuff that for us that I know has been game changer actually this last week was voodoo flossing. So working off supple leopard. So using the wraps on that, we've done shoulders. I just had a kid with elbow that he's like, man, I can only turn my hand this far, and now he can actually go all the way open. So as a lacrosse player, you kind of need that. So between that, what body tempering, I mean, it's just kind of learning for us. It's, what can give us a little bit of an edge, but also teaching the athlete where you got to start taking care of yourself. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the whole community strength and conditioning, it's very open. There's no secret formula that it's all out there. Like you said, you can pick and choose. I think that's why, as we kind of talked, it's the culture, it's the identity, it's that consistency that you're delivering. That's really what is the driving force in it. Which, yeah, I mean, it's been fun to kind of be a part of you guys and as you build out and continue to grow. Yeah, Stephen Linzmeier from Wisconsin Sports Performance. Appreciate you joining us and looking forward to more big things.
All right, thanks again.